The opinions expressed on this program are solely those of its hosts, guests, or callers, and do not necessarily represent the opinions of WTBR-FM, its management, other producers, or sponsors.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to Backstory. Let's hear it on WTBR-FM Pittsfield with Roberta McCulloch-Dews of the Mayor's Office in the city of Pittsfield. Thanks for tuning in. And so before we get started today, we just want to have a brief moment of silence for the victims of the Buffalo tragedy. We are thinking about the victims and their families and their loved ones. Thank you. All right. So today we have with us Shavelle Boire, owner of Spirited Shears Hair Salon in downtown Pittsfield and longtime cheerleading coach who, for 22 years, has led cheerleading programs for both Hoosick Valley High School and Pittsfield High. And now, Shavelle recently announced that she will be starting her own cheerleading gym, 413 Cheer, which is set to open on June 5th at Gym Fest in Pittsfield. It's going to be a busy summer for sure. All right. Welcome, Shavelle. Let's get started.
Thank you.
You're ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So first things first, is Pittsfield your hometown?
Pittsfield is my hometown. I was born and raised here, haven't been anywhere else.
Wow. All right. Okay, so which neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up in a few different neighborhoods.
Okay.
In first, second grade, we lived on Crane Ave in Oak Hill. Mm-hmm. And then third grade up, we lived on South Merriam Street, which was West Pittsfield.
Okay. All right.
I went to a few different schools, Allendale, Crosby, Reed, and Herberg.
Wow. Okay, so you have a little taste of everything then.
Right.
Which one was your favorite?
My favorite probably was Herberg.
Herberg. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Why?
Herberg, because that's when I started to find out who I was. Mm-hmm. I started developing interest. Had some really good friends.
Yeah, middle school will do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember middle school. That's when you come out of your shell. Mm-hmm. And you really start to identify with what you like and you know what you don't like. It's also tribal grounds.
Right. And it was nice for me because I had friends, because I did attend Allendale, and Pomeroy was open for a little while, so I actually went to Pomeroy as well. And then we got sent over to Crosby.
Oh, wow.
So I had friends from all different schools, so when I got to Herberg, I kind of knew everyone already.
And you had your people then?
Yeah.
All right, which is good because, again, it's always good to have, they're like, oh, that's Shavelle. We know her.
Yeah, and then I went to high school at Taconic.
Nice. My son graduated from Taconic.
Oh, I started.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but I know that there's we are more in the same age group.
Yeah,
of course. But all right, so that's a great thing. I mean, you have that experience. You come from a family that has your family is one of the longstanding Black families in Pittsfield, the Williamson family.
Right. Actually, yes. My dad passed away. Mm-hmm. Always think about him. That was a dad I grew up with. Mm-hmm. But I'm actually have connections to two very strong families in the Berkshires. I'm actually a West.
Are you?
A lot of people do not know that.
Do tell.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and it took me 46 years to be able to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Because my dad, Waddy Williamson, that's the only dad I knew. That's the dad I grew up with. He did everything for us.
Yeah.
So him and my mom had gotten divorced, and there were 5 girls in the house. Yeah, I have 5 sisters: Christine, Jennifer, Tamika, and Antoinette, and myself. Yeah. So we all grew up. It was the 5 girls in the house. When they split, us girls still stayed together. And my mom, she doesn't believe in shacking up, so she was married again. So she's very religious when it comes to that. You do not live with a man if you're not married. So she was married again, and we still kept the connection with Dad, and they actually became best friends later in years, and it was good.
Wow.
It was good. So
your journey to knowing that side of your family, was it because you just had a desire to, did you just have a desire to find out more about yourself?
No, actually, I kind of got upset with it. Like, my mom for years would try to tell me, like, who my birth father was, and I kind of just didn't care about it because I had my dad.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
You didn't want to recognize anyone else.
I didn't want to recognize anyone else. And, like, as I got older, you go to get your physical, and health problems arise, and they ask, does this run in your family?
Right.
And I sat there and I couldn't answer. So the next time my mom, every couple of years she'd reach out.
Yeah.
And my Uncle Nick during the pandemic actually reached out to me and came over to my house and, just told me how he felt, told me all about my dad. This summer I plan on connecting with family on the west side. And, meeting some of them. And so it was actually nice.
Okay. All right. So, wow. I would think that it's definitely one of those eye-opening experiences. You have a lot of, interest and excitement, but there's also that what if.
Yeah.
I guess.
And my birth dad has actually passed away as well. So I just have my Uncle Nick now, who I've built a relationship with.
Wow. Do you have siblings on your birth dad's side?
I do. I have a brother that passed away as well. I know. And then I have another brother as well.
Is he still?
He's still in Pittsfield. So we're not going to talk too much about that just because I don't want to offend anybody.
No, that's okay. Listen, I as someone who I'm starting to get into family, just genealogy and things like that, I realize that my family is way much bigger than I initially thought. And it's a great thing, but I think it definitely can open up some avenues that can be a little bit challenging at times. Yes. And some people aren't always ready to necessarily go down those paths. So
like my mom is a Moody, actually. Oh. Yeah, so a Moody is a really big family in Pittsfield as well.
That's what listen, I always tell people, because I am an outsider, right? So when I find out about some of these names, to me, I love it because it's history.
Right.
It's history. And I think for people like myself, and even for people who are here in the community, it's important for them to know the history of the neighborhood, the people who have come before. It's so important that their names need, not be forgotten. But so you have this great background, this great rich background. You have friends all across the tracks, right? You have friends throughout Pittsfield. What did you like to do for fun? Because I know your profession now, and I'm trying to see if there was a connection back in the day to when, young Shavelle used to like to just have fun in the neighborhood.
So growing up, like I said, we lived on South Merriam Street, so that was a busy street that connected from West Street to West Housatonic Street. So we would wait for cars to pass by, and we'd tumble in the front yard, like doing cartwheels, whatever, trying to show off. And we would have a competition, like my sisters and I, who could get the most beeps from the cars.
Yeah, yep.
So I did. I started cheerleading in third grade.
Yes.
But I always had an interest. I actually play the flute. I play the violin. And I love to sing. My voice might say different. I'm not a great singer, but I was in the chorus at school, and we also grew up singing in the church choir.
Yes. So, fun fact, too, I grew up playing the flute as well.
Yay!
And, yes, I love playing the flute. And my brother actually played the violin.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. And I was in the choir, too, but I can't sing.
Neither can I.
I can't.
But I love to try.
Yeah. I was like an alto. So they were like,
I wanted to be soprano, but I'm really
and it was always like, okay, you're off, you need to get back. But all right, so you had sort of already a tie-in to cheerleading with the active lifestyle that you had back then. Third grade, you liked cheerleading. What got you interested in it, though? Because there's tumbling around for fun, there's dancing in the street, and then there's actually I like that. What was your initial motivating factor to get involved?
Well, when I attended Crosby, we actually did gymnastics in gym class. Like, that was part of the curriculum. So back then, they had like the little belt that you tied around your waist to train you for the handsprings and stuff. So I started showing interest then. And then my older sister, Antoinette, made the Taconic High School cheerleading team.
Okay.
So she was one of the few black, I think she was probably the only black cheerleader on the team. She made the team, and I would just like go to the games and watch her cheer. And then the Catholic Youth Center opened up.
Right.
So she was like, she started a team there.
Yeah.
And then my second year at the Catholic Youth Center, I had a coach. Her name was Julie Hart.
Okay.
She's actually a teacher at Egremont Elementary School right now. She was the best coach ever.
Really?
And she actually just made me love cheerleading.
Now, what did you love so much about her coaching style?
She was just like, she just like treated everyone great. Her energy, she had a good spirit.
Yeah, you felt
just a really good spirit about her, and she made me fall in love with it.
Okay. So, all right. So you started in 3rd grade, and then you kept it up.
Yeah. I kept it up. I tried out for All-Stars. I made the All-Star team.
Wow.
And then I've just been doing it ever since. I actually started coaching when I was in 9th grade. I took on and coached at the CYC as well.
Now, I knew you coached at the CYC, but I always assumed that was later.
No, I started coaching cheerleading in 9th grade.
Wow.
Because if you do volunteer work, it was something that you could put on your college application or like under community service. So
that's actually really impressive. I mean, you had to be good.
Yeah, I coached St. Mary's and we won 1st place every year. Not to brag.
So I need to know your formula, because obviously you were good and you still are good. So what do you think made you so great back in the day?
So I just like to have fun with it, and I feel like I have a creative mind.
Yeah.
Whenever I choreograph a routine, I actually do choreography as well.
Okay.
So when I choreograph a routine, I kind of I think of a theme, and I just run with it.
Oh,
I might be
interesting.
walking through the mall, and I might see the green right there.
Yeah.
And it might come to me and say, okay, I'm going to do a St. Patrick's theme this year. And I just go with it. And then I never hired, I always do my own choreography.
Okay.
And I just do a little bit at a time.
And so do you write down the moves and say, or okay, so you write it down.
I sleep with a notebook.
You do?
I sleep with a notebook, literally. And you'll see little X's on the notebook.
Yeah.
So I'll do formation changes. I'll do everything. A cheerleading routine consists of 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
See, this is how you know that this is your gift.
Yes.
Because, and we're creatives, so my creatives is in writing and just, oratory, right? But yours is in dance and movement and cheering. And I feel like creatives, we think abstract. Things just come to us, and you might not have everything, all at once, but it comes little by little.
Little by little, right.
I love it. When you are putting your pieces together, do you have people try it out for you before you actually give it to the team?
Who's going to hear this? Actually, my sons. They're probably going to kill me for saying this.
Okay.
But when they were little, I'd have them say, you stand here and you stand here and do this. And they would come to practices with me. They know what a high V is. They know what a low V is. And they're tighter than any cheerleader I've coached.
Wow. Now, I got to just ask because, I'm listening to you and the thought and the dedication and the commitment and all the work that you put into making this so great. Do you think that cheerleading, and let's do a retrospective. Do you think that cheerleading back then got the just due that it deserves? And do you think that it receives the proper recognition today? Because I feel like there was a time when cheerleading wasn't fully recognized as the sport that it is.
I feel cheerleading is completely different than it was when I cheered in high school. When I cheered in high school, there weren't very many black cheerleaders. So I was... Sometimes I had a hard time in high school with cheerleading because, with the my black friends, it was that I was called a sellout, that I was on the cheer team, and that was for white people. But it was something that I loved doing. And then with the white girls on the cheerleading team, I was a little too black for them.
Yeah.
So, but I just shut that all out and I just did my own thing.
Yeah.
And
so you felt like you were in the middle.
I was in the middle. Yeah. I knew who I was. And I was in the middle, but cheerleading's completely different now. Like back then, it was like you were just cool that you were a cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know, you made up the captains of the team. I was the captain of my team. We made up the dance routines. It was nothing like, even competition cheer was nothing like it is now.
Yeah.
Now, so I mean, back then, was the recognition given? No, but it really didn't deserve any crazy recognition.
Yeah.
Now, cheerleading is a wonderful sport, and it is a sport. I feel I coached Pittsfield High for years, and I feel from some, I had 100% support, but then others, they didn't recognize it as a sport. And I just think it's basically where you're at. You know, in some school districts, the cheerleaders get just as much support as the football team does.
Right.
You know, so it's a hard question to answer.
Well, I like your answer for one, because I think you provide that personal reflection of how it felt for you as growing up as a Black cheerleader, but also in this space, right? You were in two worlds.
Right.
Here was something that you loved to do, but at times you weren't accepted.
Right.
But you still found your way. And you made it your own.
Right.
Right? And isn't that the beauty of having a gift, that it doesn't matter if others recognize it or not? If it's your gift and if it's for you, then there will be tons of room that will be made for you to just, just amplify your gift. And you have done that. So, and thank you for expounding on just the recognition that cheering gets today, because I do feel like growing up, it was more like kind of like rah-rah, like just clapping your hands kind of thing. And when I see cheerleaders today, I mean, I'm like, get out the way.
Right.
Get out the way. They're doing flips. It's like...
It's strength. It takes intense. A lot of... Yes, it takes a lot. And it's not like basketball or baseball. If one person's missing from practice, the whole team suffers.
So how did you handle that in terms of... Because I know you as a coach... You require dedication and excellence from members of the team, even to the point with their grades. I mean, they had to be on point. So how did you create this balance of high expectation, but still being approachable?
Well, I always make my practices fun. So we have a rule that if you're not in school, you do not come to practice. If you don't have a 70 GPA, you do not cheer on the team.
Okay.
I always, like, way back in the day, I kind of set that bar a little higher.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't get into the, I'm not sure if I'm going to pass. But I always make practices fun, so the kids don't want to miss practice.
The reason why I ask is because, and I know we can get into it later, but you, when you received some awards in 2017, some of your former students, they talked about, excuse me, they talked about that you were just more than a coach. You were like someone, you're like a family member. I mean, obviously you made an impact on their lives, and that says a lot about you, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely a strict coach, but the thing with me is I give respect to people and I expect respect in return. So if you treat me with respect, I'm going to give you that respect back plus some.
Right.
And as long as your kid is respectful or you want to learn to be respectful, you'll have no issues with me.
Now, in terms of some of your... Now, let's see here, because I know that there were some awards that you got. So let's see. You have amassed over 25 Western Mass Championship titles, and your teams have gone on to become some of the top state finalists at the Mass High School State Championships, where they earned national bids. So... Can you have some of your students gone on to continue in the field of cheering?
Yeah, some of them became college cheerleaders, and then we do we do camps every summer. So they've tried out for we use UCA, so they've tried out for UCA and made UCA staff. Yeah. So. And actually, with the gym that I'm opening, I have some of my former cheerleaders I haven't reached out to anyone yet, and they're all in my inboxes like, Coach, I want to coach. Coach, I want to help you. What do you need?
Well, speaking of your new venture, 413 Cheer, that's a continuation. Obviously, it seems to me like it's a linkage from the work that you've done and invested in this realm of cheering to now moving into this place. So talk a little bit about 413 Cheer.
So 413 Cheer, like as we talked about, I was the Pittsfield High cheerleading coach from 1990 to 2022. I actually stopped during the pandemic.
Wow.
It got hard. It got a little bit challenging because some of the kids were struggling in school.
Right.
I often felt like I was alone in it. Like it was like the teachers were calling. I own the hair salon as well, and my phone was ringing off the hook with teachers.
Right.
If students were not behaving in school, and I'm like, can you call their mom? Like I want to be there, but like it was overwhelming a little bit. I would do study groups on Friday nights just to make sure they would pass school.
You did? Mm-hmm. Oh.
They would come to the salon, and anybody that didn't have the grades or had I had access. I asked and got permission. I had access to all of their power schools, so I could link onto their power school and see. I'm like.
Nice.
Just a fake name, Susie.
Right.
You're missing an assignment that needs to be in before you come to practice. Mm-hmm. So we would do study groups on Friday night. We'd order pizza, give the kids snacks, and they'd do their homework.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. So it just got to be a lot, though. Like once my kids graduated from high school, I'm like, I'm tired.
So you took a break.
I took a break.
Okay.
I just I felt like I needed a little help from the other side. Like they were calling me during the night, like if the kids misbehaved at home.
Yeah.
I was kind of like.
I guess it says something, though. It says something about how you are perceived. I mean, and I guess that could become tiresome, but it's also sort of like to your credit that you're looked upon as a figure that, who are you going to call at 3 a.m. in the morning? I'm calling Shavelle.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you have earned that status as someone that they trust. So, but also that can also become a lot because when you take it all on, it's not easy to be one person and also have to shoulder all of that.
It's not. So how I came about 413 Cheer, just to get back to your question, because I'll get sidetracked in talking about
Don't
PHS.
Worry. I'll bring you back.
I actually am in the process of adopting an 11-year-old girl. Okay. And she fell in love with cheerleading. She likes cheerleading. She's been cheering 3 months.
Okay.
So there was nothing around here, and I had stopped coaching the high school team, so I signed her up for All-Star Cheer.
Yeah.
So I actually I just started working at World Cup.
Okay.
And that's in Connecticut.
Okay.
So 3 times a week, I'm driving back and forth to Connecticut for cheerleading.
Oh.
So it just got to be a lot, and especially during competition season, it was a lot.
Wow.
Just driving back and forth, and she really wants to cheer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what do we do? And now it's tryout time. This is the time where everybody does their tryouts. And I'm like, I used to work at Gym Fest.
Yeah.
So Stephanie and Brian, the owners there, we've chatted back and forth. And their daughter actually started cheering in college because her college didn't have a gymnastics team, I believe.
Okay.
So they started to see the work that cheerleaders put in, and they started to realize this is a huge community. So we met and had and it just went from there. So I'm partnering with Gym Fest, and I'm going to use their facility. They have everything there.
So for those who are the uninitiated like myself, what comprises putting together a team from the ground up? What does this entail?
It entails a lot because you have to, in cheerleading and all-star cheerleading, there's different levels.
Okay.
It goes from levels 1 to 6.
Okay.
And all of your coaches need to be credentialed. And that's hours and weeks worth of work to do. So you get credentialed for each level. There are different options. We may be able to join and be a rec program. A rec program is a little less expensive because if we register as an all-star program, there's a lot of fees for the families.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to keep it affordable. What I do also want people to know is I still have to pay bills as well.
Absolutely.
And I still have to provide the proper training for these kids. It's not just going to be some program where they're shaking pom-poms. We're going to teach them cheerleading.
it goes back again to the perceptions of cheerleading. People think, that traditional just shaking pom-poms. No, this is rigorous stuff.
Right. They'll be lucky. Maybe the instructionals will get pom-poms, but the rest of them...
No pom-poms here.
There's no pom-poms here.
Wow. But so this can be a little bit pricey, though.
Right. But we are going to provide fundraising.
Okay, good.
And when I coached my high school team, I did all the fundraising as well. Mm-hmm. So I would be outside Walmart on Sundays,
I could have seen you
begging people for money. So this time around, if you do need to fundraise, I'm hoping to get a parents group together, and you guys can do that. But I will provide options. I am looking for people to maybe do some scholarships for some kids that really can't afford it.
Right.
I can't promise anything right now until I see what the numbers are.
Right.
But the numbers are looking really good.
Right.
It's overwhelming.
You mentioned that the response, people have been sending you messages.
Sending me messages, wanting to know when registration's going up. Registration will be up on Monday.
Okay.
I just met with my CPA today, and we're getting everything going. We just want to make sure our T's and I and everything's dotted before we put that out there.
And so these teams, are they just a mixture of just all genders?
All genders. Okay. All genders, ages 4 to 17.
Okay.
Hopefully by next year I'll open it up and do an open team, which would be 17 and no age limit. So hoping, fingers crossed, everything goes well.
Wow.
We will have no age limit on that. But there's different teams and different levels, so it just depends on their skill level what team they'll make. Mm-hmm. But everybody will be guaranteed to be on a team, whether it might be instructional, might not be one of the travel competition teams, but they will learn cheerleading.
I love it. And so from your, you were talking about your students. So how many of them have you brought on board? Have you brought any of them?
I haven't officially brought anybody on board yet.
Okay.
I'm looking to hire 3 coaches. 3 coaches. And looking for about 5 volunteer coaches. Wow. The volunteer coaches, I will provide a small stipend at the end of each session.
Okay. You're really stacking your team.
Yeah. So I'm looking to have between 8 to 10 coaches.
Okay. All right.
Just from the responses I'm getting from.
I mean, you're almost at capacity.
Yeah. But we're going to keep it open.
But see, this shows that you are meeting a need. The fact that you have garnered this kind of response tells me that people are hungry for this. So I wish you so much success, because people, they want you to just open the doors now.
And I was at a doctor's appointment this morning, and I saw 2 little girls running around. I went right up to the mother and was like, how old are your kids? And don't worry, I'll be talking to you about your daughter after. If they're not a cheerleader, we want them to come to the instructional just to see what it's like. Do the 8-week session and see how they like it.
Well, she did gymnastics.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, she did gymnastics there. And, I'm of the mindset where I like to expose her to different things. I mean, I always say she might, gravitate to something. She might not like it. But the idea is to give her the exposure so she can make the decision. So,
right. And if they try it, it's something they can put on their college application.
Exactly.
You have to stack that up there to get those scholarships.
I mean, nowadays, you walk with something on top of your head. You're creating, new innovations. I mean, it's definitely a different generation. We are in our 40s, so we are off a different generation.
And I want the Black community to know that cheerleading's not just for Caucasians.
Do you think they think that?
I think they do think that. Not all.
Why?
Not all, but when I go to competitions, there's teams, there's all Black teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cheerleading has no race.
It doesn't, but I'm just wondering if that's the case. If you see all Black teams, then I'm wondering, is it that people don't see it in certain areas?
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
People don't see it. I think in this area, there were very few. It was me and my sisters and I, and I remember Clayton Jackson. He was a male cheerleader, one of the only Black male cheerleaders in Pittsfield. But it definitely, there are kids out there, and we can dance.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and stepping is so I almost say that's a a cousin. So stepping is not as, I mean, you don't have the rigorous, you're not, doing flips and things like that.
And lifts.
But it's the same, the aspect of the movement.
Right.
It's like, it's a cousin, so to speak.
The only reason I would not approach the step kids is I would never want to step on Miss Shirley's toes. And a lot of times, I did have a step girl, Destiny was her name. I loved Destiny, but she came to cheerleading and she had the step going, and she just wasn't. She was just so used to step, and they do things complete tight, stiff.
Yeah.
And step is a little looser.
Yeah.
So it was hard for her. And I said, "You're way too good of a stepper to give that up." I said, "And Mrs. E will kill me if I steal you." So Destiny went back to step.
Okay. Wow. Well, I think what you're saying is totally on point, because in order to know that you can be something, you have to see it. And
see it and try it.
Exactly.
And that's why with the instructional option, you're not locked in. It's 8 weeks.
Right.
And I do have a full year option, and I do have a half year competition option. But at least try the instructional 8-week option.
I like that. All right. So we have a lot happening with 413 Cheer, and you are building out your team. What are your colors?
I don't know yet. And the reason I don't know what my colors are is I like for my team, whenever I coach, it's a team decision on everything.
Oh.
So I want to meet my kids and see what they feel the color should be. Also, when you have teams, like in an all-star program, you have names of the teams. So like at World Cup, when I worked there, I coached Team Saturn. So we had Saturn, Ultraviolet, Sunburst. So what I'm thinking about, because the Berkshires are so wonderful, I'm thinking about naming my teams after places in the Berkshires or in the 413 area. So I think one team will be named Zion after Zion National Park. I think I'm going to have a team called J Peak after Jiminy Peak. I thought of the B Eagles after the Berkshire Eagle. So I'm just trying to feel out what the kids feel, and we're going to take a vote on what the team names are and what the colors are going to be.
How very democratic of you. I love it. I love it. All right. So we have 413 Cheer that has a lot of good stuff. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure Shavelle is going to continue to pump out information about that. And just in case, she might see you outside. And if you have a kid with you, she might come up to you.
I am coming up to you.
So just be on notice. All right. So we have that side of your life, but you have another passion, and that's cosmetology.
Yes, I love cosmetology.
All right, so tell me how you got into that, because I mean, I obviously you are in a role that so many people need, want, just they come to you. You are a go-to person. Did you always know that you wanted to do cosmetology?
I did. I started, like I said, I had my life planned out when I attended Herberg. Like I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what age I wanted to be married at. I knew.
Did you write all this down?
I did. I used to write poems, and I loved to write, and I had my life planned out, and I've met every single one of those goals.
I am impressed.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to do hair, and when it was time in high school to start visiting colleges and filling out different forms, my friends actually gave me a hard time. Their response was, my mom would never let me go to beauty school. It was like the group that I hung out with, you went to college.
Right.
So I kind of looked down, they looked down on me because I wanted to go to cosmetology school. And those same girls that said that to me, they're hairdressers today. So that was kind of, but I did know my mom would buy me a doll for Christmas, and the hair would be cut by Christmas night. Right. So, and I had a neighbor, and she would let me practice on her kids. I gave them some messed up haircuts. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, wow!
So, but I always had a love for doing hair and makeup. We weren't allowed to wear makeup growing up until we were 16. My mom made that age, but. And about middle school, I would hide the makeup in my bag, and when I got to school, I'd put it on.
Yep.
So watch your daughter.
11 years old, and already, I can tell you that it's they start already. But, I say clear lip gloss.
Yes.
Clear lip gloss, and you'll be fine by that. But you know what? You the fact that you knew in middle school that this was going to be your life's work, I'm impressed by that. And the fact that you said that you wrote everything down and you met all your goals.
I actually, one goal I didn't meet. I wanted to actually be a lawyer.
Okay.
And I was going to do hair to get myself through law school.
Okay.
So that's just one goal that I have to complete.
Okay. So are you still going to go back to law school? Someday. Okay.
Someday.
Yeah.
I'm doing, I have the cheer and the hair thing right now, and it's doing so well. I actually just hired a massage therapist at the shop. So that's kind of...
You're a busy lady.
Yeah.
You're a busy lady. So tell me, all right, so you have Spirited Shears now, and you opened that salon in 2011 on North Street.
Yes.
But you had a salon before that salon, and that salon was on Plunkett.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned previously that because you took it over from someone, maybe there wasn't that much of that connection.
It didn't feel like, I owned it, and I bought it from a nice lady. Her name was Jean Marie.
Yeah.
And she moved to Florida, so she was selling the shop. But it didn't feel like mine.
Yeah.
It was like it butted there was an apartment in the back. It just kind of was tucked away on a side street.
Yeah.
So I did that for about, I think it was 5 years.
Okay.
And then I was like, it's time.
But what made you even take the plunge as an entrepreneur?
Well, I started off I had that set.
Okay.
I gave myself the 2-year plan for that. So I started off 2 years in the mall. Then I left the mall. I worked at a hair salon on South Street. I said 2 years there.
Yep.
And then I became an independent contractor and started working for myself.
Yeah.
With a wonderful Italian lady named Maria. I love her.
Yeah.
So she showed me how to do my books, and then stayed there for 2 years. And then I said, 2 years, let's go. So I opened up the salon. Yeah.
I love the fact that your goals are even aligned to the time frame where you're like, all right, it's 2 years. It's time for me to move.
It's time for me to move. Yes.
I like
so
that.
I did that, and I've been on North Street since 2011.
Okay.
So.
And tell me about that salon. I know of it now, but it's one of those where it's like, I guess if you have your set clientele, how do you get the word out? Is it something that it's word of mouth?
I've never advertised. It's just been word of mouth, and I've had my set clientele since I started at the mall. Wow. I was very lucky, very fortunate. And the way I built my clientele up was through the kids. Okay. Everything in my life is through the kids. Because if the kids love you,
then you're good.
Then you're good.
Right.
Like the mother, they're going to tell their mom they want to come to you. So they would, I would start doing the child, and the mom would come and get their hair done. But
so what are your specialties? Like, what can people, when they go there, what are some of the services that they say, I'm going to Spirited Shears for because I know she's going to knock it out the park?
So I'm very good with corrective color.
Okay.
Corrective color, you know what corrective color is?
No.
So if you go to, say that you went to Walmart and you bought a box color and you wrecked your hair. So I'm good at fixing the color and retransforming it and giving you a better color. Okay. I'm very good at corrective color. Okay. I'm really good at cutting. I'm really good at updos, like special occasion styles. I'm really good at braiding, but I took
Did you braid your own hair?
I did braid my own hair. But I stopped doing braids for a while just because my hands, I was getting a little bit old.
Yeah.
But I just now took on a few braid clients back, so I might start doing it again. The one thing that I am not that I'm not good at, I don't do a lot of it, is dreads.
Ah, yes. And obviously, because I have locks, and but I do my hair myself.
So I got a call that they wanted a retwist.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can do it.
Yeah,
but
super easy.
But I just didn't. I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And I just I don't want to let anyone down.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I mean, I remember, when early on in I always call it like my lock journey, when I first started my locks. I've had my locks now for 20 years. I've cut them.
Yours are so beautiful,
I've cut them several times, and now they're graying. I mean, obviously It's like, that's why when you ask me, do I know corrective color? I'm like, no, I don't know corrective color because my color is leaving my hair. But no, I remember people used to ask me like, oh, like, they see me with my locks and they say, oh, can you lock my hair? And I did it a couple of times. Like I would do it, but then I realized it's one thing to do my hair. It's another thing to do someone else's hair, right? And I'm not a professional. I don't have a license. I don't have certificates.
And you need the chair. Like, you don't want to be sitting in your kitchen just locking someone's hair.
It takes a lot of time, and you want to make sure that it is done well. If someone is entrusting you to do their hair, to me, that's serious business. Right. Serious business. So I get it, but I recently trimmed my locks, and I found someone to do it.
Okay.
And they had a great technique, and I told myself, if I'm not feeling the vibes, I'm out of there.
Right. Yeah, I do relaxers, though, all of it. And I have a mixed clientele.
Okay.
Like, a lot of my clients live in, like, Great Barrington.
Okay, all right. And these were clients that you had back from the mall.
I've been doing the same clients for years.
That's good.
Yeah, and I do a lot of, do a few people some people in Pittsfield. I wish I had more of the Black community in Pittsfield.
Well, you don't advertise, Shavelle.
I don't advertise because I am always at cheerleading.
Listen, if you are running up to people with kids in an office talking about you should cheerlead, then the same thing with the hairdo. You should have your cards.
My schedule is slam packed.
Listen, if you see someone in an office, just slip them a card and keep walking.
I could do that. But I am looking to hire more stylists as well.
I mean, you have to promote, because people are always on the lookout for stylists. They just have to know you exist. Right. And you have the thing is that you already have this strong clientele base, but there's always new people coming into the city.
There is.
So, I mean...
And I'm right behind Barrington Stage Company, so I get a lot of people from Barrington Stage during the summer as well. So if you know any stylist looking for a job... I could use some help.
I will always keep my ears open, and I will share what I know. So let's see. We talked about the cosmetology aspect, and I think with that, do you have any goals in mind? Because I mean, you're going to have 401(c) cheer. You're going to be doing, you have your salon. Have you considered the work-life balance aspect of all of this?
Yes. So actually, I'm in the process right now with the cosmetology side of it. I'm going to start stubbing at the high school and work for the city of Pittsfield. I'm going to be
welcome.
The cosmetology in the cosmetology department. I just have some online training to complete. I did the fingerprints, all that, but computers aren't my thing. So I just have to stop being lazy and
just do it.
Finish the online training.
All right.
And I believe, that at some point, the present cosmetology teachers will have to retire at some point. So that's why I'm trying to get in there now. So
put that out there. Well, there's always natural attrition, Right. I mean, it's the way of life, right?
So that's on my plan. I'm also planning in the next 4 years to open up a second Spirited Shears, but in the South.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I want to open up a second Spirited Shears. So I'm going to have one here in the north, and it's going to be called Spirited Shears South. Yeah, so I'm actually, I've already started that. I'm licensed in Georgia as well.
Okay, so I need to know how you are a busy lady, and I knew you were already, but all right, one, did you write this goal down and say, I am going to do this by such and such a year? Did you do that?
I did.
Okay.
But COVID put it back a little bit. So now, and my daughter set that back a little bit. I never in a million years thought I would be adopting an 11-year-old little girl,
Yeah.
So that set it back a little bit. So I'm giving myself 5 years to get that second salon in the South up and running.
Okay, and you're going to go back and forth.
Back and forth.
I love it. I love your hustle. I love your entrepreneurial spirit. And I think, your boys, they're grown men. They graduated from UMass in 2021. They're doing their own thing because, they had a mom who, obviously modeled excellence. So no doubt that they're doing their own thing and successful in their own right. But now you have a daughter who is watching you, right? And she's watching everything, and she is seeing hustle personified, right? She's seeing like, okay, I have a goal, but here's what you do to actually make that goal a reality. That's one of the best lessons you can ever learn or teach, I should say, because one, they see it. It's not in a classroom. It's real life. It's all around them. So when they're absorbing it, it's because it's through observation. It's through just, hey, maybe she's an assistant. Maybe she's, just taking everything in. But I love that aspect of representation so close to home. Have you thought about how you're going to sort of incorporate her into sort of the business aspect of things?
Yeah, we've discussed that a lot. She actually has a little journal that I make her. I make her write. And let me tell you a little bit about. Her name is Lexus.
All right.
I originally started working for DCF. One of my cheerleaders was having a hard time at home. So she went to some program, and it was like, she doesn't belong there. That's for like bad, like I don't like to use the word bad.
Right.
I don't like to use the word bad.
No.
But that's for, that just it wasn't a program for her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of my other families, her mom was taking the foster parent class, and she said, come with me. And I thought of this cheerleader that needed me.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to go. So we went, and they approved me and denied my friend. So now I'm stuck in this class by myself.
Oh.
Yeah. So I did finish the class just because I, wanted to help the cheerleader out and have her be able to come to stay at my house instead of being with some stranger.
Right.
So I finished the class, and then once I finished, like they called me and asked, they said, we have a 10-year-old little girl that her foster mom's going on vacation for a week. Will you take her?
Yeah.
So I said yes. She was my first placement, and she came to my house, and it was just like instant.
Really?
It was like the missing piece to my puzzle. So at the end of the week, she didn't want to leave.
Okay. And so, like, can you just say, I want to keep you, like, and be your foster mom? Like, how does it work?
It was a weird situation. She didn't want to leave, so then I guess she talked to her social worker, and she wanted to stay, so they called me back and was like, will you keep her?
Oh.
Sounds so terrible, but... So
no.
she's been with me ever since.
No, I don't think it sounds terrible. I think it sounds like kind of love at first sight.
Yes, I believe in love at first sight too.
Yeah.
By the way. But yeah, she's been with me ever since October 1st, 2020 or 2019. Oh. Yeah. So she's been with me ever since, and she asked me to adopt her, so I said yes. So we're in the process of that right now.
I love it.
So she wants to be a cheerleader, so I had no other choice but to do this.
Well, and she has found now in her mom-to-be a excellent role model, and she's in good hands all around.
Thank you. She has her notebook, and we set goals. By this date, you need to have this done, and by this date, and we check it off.
I like that. I love vision boarding. Like, I love to see things in front of me as a reminder. I do write things down. I haven't put a date. No, I haven't done that. That's why I'm intrigued by your process.
You know why I have to put a date? I'm the biggest procrastinator you'll ever meet.
Oh, so it keeps you accountable.
Holds me accountable, yeah.
Huh.
If I know that I have something at 3 o'clock on Thursday that's due, I'm going to start it on Wednesday night. But I'm going to make sure I will meet the deadline.
Now, sometimes I will say that I feel when I know that there's the pressure to get it done.
Right.
It's almost like, this is it, so just buckle down and do it. And I feel like that having a looming deadline actually works to make me work faster and more intense. But other things that need more thought and planning, I can't mess around. I'm like, I have to actually put things in and make sure that I'm adhering to a schedule, because certain things you can do that with. And then other things, it's like you don't want to mess around and do things that are just that it's just not 100%. You don't want to shortchange yourself.
Right.
But
not with everything I'm a procrastinator, but with some things.
Well, I like the idea of the time frame. It's something I'm actually going to think about. Think about that. Yeah. Now, when you have that time, what about the moments where you have maybe not met your set time frame and you're like, okay, do you just give yourself more time and say, well, I'll just add another year to this?
No, you have to do it.
Okay.
And it's just that comes from the cheerleader in me. Like, you have 2 minutes to do your best. Mm-hmm. There's no second chance.
Okay.
We only live once. I have to do it.
You're right. All right. Coach Shavelle has spoken. All right. I got to ask, because we talked a little bit about your boys, but they're twins, okay?
Yes.
And I think that's the coolest thing ever.
They're the best.
Do twins run in your family?
Twins do. My mom actually was pregnant with twins, but she had a miscarriage. But I did some research on twins, and I always hear people say, do twins run in your family?
Yeah.
And I've had tons of arguments with people because I feel like twins, I think that's a myth.
You think so?
I think if you release 2 eggs, then you have twins.
But what if you're genetically predisposed to maybe, you come from a line where it just releases I don't know. Maybe there's just a quicker release. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm the jack of all trades now. I'm an OBGYN.
I don't know.
But yeah, twins do run in my family. And my ex-husband, they ran in his family as well.
Well,
yeah.
see, there you go.
Right, yes. But my boys are wonderful. Their names are Tarek and Tyrell. They're really, really nice.
So what's the coolest thing? I mean, they're grown now, but when you look back as a mom of twin boys, what were some of the coolest moments?
So some of the best moments were going to parent-teacher conference and just reading different things that they wrote in school, but they were not in the same class, but they would both write about the same thing. It's really weird. Yeah.
Well, they say that they're twins, and they're connected, right? I mean, they on a deeper level. I mean, as a person who is not a twin, I don't know what that feels like. But to be in the womb with another person. There
were many mornings, especially in high school. Yeah. Tyrell would come downstairs dressed, and Tarek would come out the room, and they'd have the same thing on. And they would fight. Change. No, I'm not changing. And I'm like, just somebody change. Yeah. And it's crazy because even when they went, 2 summers ago they bought their first car, and they both had down what they wanted for cars.
It was the same thing.
They both have white Jeep Grand Cherokees.
Did they know that?
No.
Oh.
No, they will. And I'm sure everybody is like, those twins have the same car.
Yeah.
When we went to car shop, there was a gray one and there was a white one. Now, out of all the cars that they could have chose, they both chose Jeeps. And there was a gray one and a white one, and they both wanted the white one.
Yeah. I just think that they're just connected.
They're very connected.
They have, twins just have a bond. I mean, I've, just hearing stories about twins, they say they know what each other are thinking, and they can feel each other's pain and things like that.
They're very connected. Even with school, they both were high honor students. They've never missed a day of school ever. But Tarek, in 6th grade, he faked sick because he didn't want to be known as the twin dork that never missed school.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but K through 12 never missed a day of school. So that's something I'm proud of.
Oh,
for
Mom,
them.
You did a good job.
Yeah, and they're just all around great boys.
That's what every parent wants.
They are.
That's so great. And so do they still live in Pittsville? Are they?
Tarek's still at home with me. Okay. He actually just started school again.
Okay, good.
So he's back in school. He's actually right now a teacher at Taconic, just in the meantime till he finds what he wants to do.
That's important because we need more teachers, and especially men of color. I think that's important in terms of just representation for students. It's very important for them to see.
And my son Tyrell lives in Boston. He wanted out of Pittsfield ASAP. So he's in Boston, living on his own.
Is that hard for them to be separated?
It is. They call each other though, but they're like Felix and Oscar. They're complete different. So Tyrell's he's my wild child. He's not afraid to spend money, and Tarek's going to bank every single penny he has. So my rule is if you're at home, you're in school.
Right. Good rule. Absolutely good rule. So, I mean, we talked about so much. I'm so hesitant to even mention downtime because I don't know what that could mean. But tell me, what do you do for fun?
So for fun, I'm going to mention cheerleading again once.
Okay.
I go to cheerleading competitions.
Okay.
I watch cheerleading on TV. But honestly, for fun, like if it doesn't have to do with hair or cheerleading, like I just went to Tennessee last week to the Smoky Mountains.
Oh.
That was really nice.
Oh, nice.
I like to travel now. I didn't get to travel a lot when my kids were younger because they were in school and sports.
Yeah.
So it was all about them. So now I kind of have time for myself.
I love it. I love it. Oh my
I
God.
went to the so I like to travel.
Yeah.
I go back and forth to Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Okay. All right.
So
So is it because like you have family and friends down there?
I have actually not a lot of family in Pittsfield. I mean, my like, what we talked about in the beginning, but my mom was actually from California. So a lot of my family's in California. The rest, my sister just moved to North Carolina a few years back. My other sister's in South Carolina. My aunts and uncles are in Georgia. So
Wow.
But I have a lot of friends in Georgia. So on the weekends, I'll fly out and go hang out in Georgia.
Okay. Listen, you have paid your dues,
Right.
and you are at a point in your life where you can do that. Like, I'm out. I'll be back Monday.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So before we close out, I do want to acknowledge that, in 2017 was a great year for you.
It was.
Because you were the recipient of the Unsung Heroes Award, and you were honored at the State House in Boston. And you were also featured in Berkshire Magazine's 25 Most Dedicated, Creative, and Influential Persons.
Right.
So you had back-to-back awards that year.
That was very overwhelming, and I was actually flattered and thankful.
Yeah.
A lot of times I felt that my work was unnoticed, and just to get that phone call. I ignored a couple of emails from the State House, and I just thought it was spam. So I just kept ignoring it. So a good friend of mine, Kristen Gordon, she I was doing her hair one day, and I was like, I keep getting this email, and she was like, let me see that.
Yeah.
So she was like, you're not going to ignore this. I am picking you up at 9 o'clock. We're going. So
Wow.
it was literally the night before I decided to go, and it was one of the best days of my life. I met some pretty amazing people.
Well deserved. And, I think to the point that you said that, sometimes when you're working hard, you're doing what you love, you're making an impact. You don't do it. You don't do it for, the acknowledgement and all of that. But it is nice that, after all that work, that those who have been, who have benefited from any of that, it's a nice feeling to know that they appreciate you.
It was very nice. And just to see, like, the cheerleaders that I've coached that, like we talked about earlier, that came out, and just, like, the nice things they had, had to say, and
it means that your impact is real.
Right.
And
because they wouldn't have said those nice things during the season, because I was like, when we're working out.
They're like, I have nothing to say. Don't ask me. I told you already.
Yes, right.
But no, I think that it's a testament to your character. And I think that those who now in the next phase of your life with 413 Cheer, I think we'll get to see the new generation be benefited by your amazing talents. So I'm just looking at the time here because we are nearing the end of the program, but I want to ask you, if you had to choose one word to describe yourself, what would that be?
Tenacious.
Okay.
Because, do you know what that means?
I do.
Okay.
That's right.
I'm stubborn, I'm persistent, I never give up, and I'm going to keep going until I achieve
absolutely.
What
you are
until I reach the top.
You are the woman who makes sure that you have your goal with a set time frame.
Yes.
Indeed, you are tenacious.
Yes.
I love it. All right, everyone, you've been listening to Backstory. Let's hear it on WTBR-FM Pittsville with Roberta McCulloch-Dews of the Mayor's Office in the City of Pittsville. We thank Shavelle Boire for a lovely interview today, and we thank you for listening, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Roberta.